Hi folks, it's Ty here. Well, I'm out for a little hike this afternoon. It's beautiful out. It's about 42 degrees out right now. Just wonderful weather. Day started out all cloudy. I thought for sure we were going to have rain all day, and then it cleared right up. Nice blue skies. So I decided I'd take a hike down here to the lakefront, sit and just watch the ice fishermen out there. Now the angle of my camera might be a little off because I didn't bring up a tripod. I got it propped up against a pair of gloves. So we'll do the best we can. So anyway, I can't wait for spring. This video really doesn't have a particular purpose. I just brought my camera with. I try to always have my camera with. I'm just out for a hike, hiking around town, wishing I was out in the woods instead. I've got some vehicle issues still, and getting up north of here and getting out into the national forest has been a little tricky. So talking to a few folks, the accessibility is bad too. The roads are pretty broken up, and none of that Forest Service area up there is plowed. So your vehicle's got to be a good four-wheel drive to get in and out of there. And even right now, with it breaking up, it'd be pretty tough. So I'm still limited to getting out in the woods like I'd like to. Spring's coming though. I'll get out there. Then we'll have some fun. I've got some outings planned for late spring and early summer. Actually, I've got probably 10 different outings planned for the summer, so we'll have a lot of video time out in the woods and some activities out there, some bushcrafting and hiking and exploring. Oh, I'll mention, I was watching a friend of mine's video. Most of you know who the fella is, you know, over at Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft. And he had a little video where he just went out for a hike and was enjoying the outdoors and started a little fire and had himself a cup of cocoa. I had mentioned in the comments to his video that I tried to do the same thing the other day, and I went down into this ravine here in town. There's this creek that runs through town that I just love to hang out by because nobody ever goes down near the creek. There's really no accessibility. You got to kind of walk through the woods, and nobody's ever down there. So I like to go hang out there. And so I went down there, and I was thinking just like Bentley was. I'll start myself a little micro fire and I'll have a cup of coffee. I had my camp pot with me and my coffee fixings. And so I hiked down through that little woods, got down to that creek. It's all city-owned property, so it's public. Well, I got down there and collected up some tinder and kindling and a little bit of wood to just make a micro fire, just enough to boil a couple cups of water to make a cup of coffee. Well, I no more than got the fire going, and mind you, it wasn't much of a fire. It was just a tiny little fire, just enough to heat, like I said, 2 cups of coffee. Well, all of a sudden I see this fella walking down the hillside. He comes down right to where I was sitting there with the fire, and I feel bad because I didn't have my camera with at the time, and I should have been filming it because the conversation with the fella would have been kind of interesting to have on the camera. he comes up to me, and I notice that he's wearing black slacks and he's got a black winter jacket with an insignia on it. And he gets closer, and I realize he's with the fire department. And I thought maybe he just wanted to chat. Well, he comes up and he says, he asked who I was, and I was doing nothing wrong, and I'm a firm believer I shouldn't have to prove who I am unless I'm breaking the law, you know. But he seemed like a nice enough fella, so I told him who I was, and he said, I need to talk to you about that fire. I said, what about it? And he said, well, you can't have an open fire in city limits. It has to be in a fire pit, it has to be contained in some fashion, and it has to be on private property. I said, well, you've got to be kidding me. And he said, no, you're on city property, so you can't have an open fire here. He said, now, if the city had a fire pit here, you could have a fire in a fire pit, but you can't have an open fire like this. And I said, well, look around you, man. It's snow. Everywhere's snow. You can't see ground anywhere. I said, there's no risk of this fire getting out of control. And I said, plus, it's just barely enough to heat 2 cups of water. He says, doesn't matter. He said, I have to ask you to put the fire out. And if you refuse to put the fire out, then he said, I'll have to fine you. I think he said it was $75 for violating the fire code. So I complied. I put the fire out, and I told him, I said, gosh, man, I said I'm not used to town. I lived out in the woods too long, I guess. I said, so, but $75 for a cup of coffee? This old boy can't afford that. I said, I'd rather use up a couple gallons of gasoline in the truck and go out in the national forest and have a cup of coffee. It takes a little longer to get out there and get my fire going, but it's sure a lot cheaper. So here in town, I guess it costs you $75 if you want to have an old-fashioned cup of coffee. So that's Sty, just not used to town rules. So that's just like when I was a kid. There he goes, breaking the rules again. So I asked the fella, I said, now if I come out here with an alcohol stove, I can heat a cup of coffee? He goes, oh yeah, you could do that. I said, how about one of those little camp stoves that I can just feed twigs to? Can I cook a cup of coffee on there? He says, is it an actual stove? Like a camp stove? I said, yeah. He says, yeah, then you could do that. I said, but I could use twigs and have a fire in that little stove. And he goes, yeah, you could. He said, because you're not having an open fire. I said, okay, I guess I'll know better. I'll know better next time to make sure to move a little farther down the ravine where nobody can see me and have a micro fire and my cup of coffee. I think that rule will be a little easier to break than to follow. So oops, my bad. Oh well. So here I am today, no cup of coffee. I can't fix a cup of coffee because I'm here down at the lakefront park. So, but I'm enjoying the nice warm weather and watching the fishermen out here. They're crazy as sin, driving. They're still out there driving their trucks. All the access points, I walked past several of them. Standing water, they're driving through water up to 3 feet deep. The ice is sinking just to get out on the good ice so that they can go out there and fish. They're crazy. They're nuts. I might walk out there, but I sure wouldn't drive my truck out there. So, but just thought I'd throw this together for a little video for something to do today. Burning up my afternoon. My work schedule starts again tomorrow, and I got to work for 3-4 days in a row, and so it'll be a few days before I actually get out to do anything. So I figured, well, today's the day, so here I am, and here I go. Thanks for watching, folks. You all take care and have a very nice day. Bye-bye.